But the big story this week, obviously, is something that, if you don't listen to Sikkim365.com, that's your prerogative. Hopefully you tune in on occasion if you're a Baylor fan. I don't see why you wouldn't. But if you were listening late last week, then this is a topic that we were discussing a couple of days before everybody else, quite frankly. And I got to give credit to Smokey because when I kind of brushed it off initially when she appeared on Louisiana radio and it kind of cracked the door open for LSU, I wasn't paying attention to their head women's basketball coach because why would I care? I mean, honestly, I'm not paying attention to LSU women's basketball. I look at the Lady Bears and maybe a couple of the teams around them, but outside of that, it's not of interest to me. So I had no idea LSU is, perhaps losing their head coach. And then when I learned, they are, most likely. And she's saying that on radio. I still was kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's Mulkey. I get it, the whole Louisiana tie and everything like that. But by about Tuesday night or Wednesday, I mean, Smokey had talked to some people, and you could tell that there was some, no pun intended, some smoke to this. And it wasn't just, people trying to drudge something up or create something or anything like that. This was based in some facts. And you peel back the layers more and you realize that there's some disagreements going on behind the scenes and that maybe that's kind of been the case for a while as far as just not always seeing eye to eye on everything or, whatever the case may be. It seems like, there was some butting of the heads on some things. And so that adds to it when you realize that's going on. And you take into account she's been here for 20 plus years. She does obviously love Louisiana. Anybody who watched her press conference yesterday could see that. And if you can't see that, then you're just in full-on denial because it was blatantly obvious how happy she was. And she hasn't looked that happy in like 5 years. There's all this talk and no way it can happen. And I remember a couple people on Twitter chirping that, you're just trying to start stuff. And it's like, we're not that outlet. Like we don't ESPN first take this stuff. So yeah, there was some stuff to it. And by the time we were talking on Friday, I think a lot of people had started to realize, like, there's actually kind of maybe something to this. By Friday, the time we left the airwaves, I was pretty confident that Kim was no longer going to be at Baylor. By Saturday, the rumors are really swirling, Grayson. And then, with all due respect to Nick Canizales, who is a really good dude, he's back in Beaumont now, former TV anchor here in Waco. He sent out some Kim propaganda on Saturday when he sent out she's just waiting she's waiting to make a decision. She'll have a decision by tomorrow. Her decision was already made, folks, on Saturday when that was sent out. If you remember that tweet or saw that tweet, that was her just talking, and it was already decided. And that became very clear in how quickly it all unfolded after that there really wasn't a decision. That was look at me for about another day or so, and she got that attention, and I'm not like bashing on her by saying that, but that was calculated. And sure enough, by Sunday, Kim Mulkey, LSU head basketball coach, which is kind of weird to say, although I've said it a bunch here in the last 48 hours or so. Still shocking. I know a lot of the fan base is coming to grips with it. Grayson, 3-time national champion, billion-time Big 12 champion, and just a winner. And the reason why Baylor sports was able to stay afloat there for a little while, not the reason solely why it's been successful here as of late, as you see with tennis, men's basketball, baseball's playing really well right now. I mean, you go on and on and on. But for whatever reasons, all of them, Kim Mulkey is now the head basketball coach at LSU, and her run with the Lady Bears ends after 20-plus years and 3 titles. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so, I was kind of in the same boat as you as far as timeline goes. When there is this much smoke, there just is fire. And you kind of saw it coming as the weekend progressed, even before that. In the middle of the week, Smokey and Colt and Ashley and Brian were kind of all on top of this storyline throughout the week. So got a lot of insight there, a lot of facts. And that was really, really cool to kind of unpack that whole situation. As far as Kim Mulkey goes, I would say when all of this talk was happening about her going to LSU, I was pretty in shock. I was also pretty disappointed in it, to be honest. She's been such a staple for Baylor athletics, such a fixture for, kind of this athletic program and its trajectory. And so it was tough to see that, she might be leaving to LSU, but I got to say, once she left Baylor, I mean, it just is what it is, and you got to move on. And that's kind of where I was at. I mean, it's just one of those things. I'm not going to root for her at LSU. I don't care about LSU. And as far as Baylor goes, Baylor just lost a great coach, but I don't think that in today's age of women's college basketball that a great coach can't necessarily be replaced. Now, I don't necessarily mean that they're going to have 3 national championships like Kim did, but she had 23 years to win those 3 championships. So I'm curious if the next coach can come in and have some success. And I think Baylor women's basketball is a blue blood at this point. Kim's made it that way. And I think the next coach is going to be set up really well for success. And I trust Mac Rhodes to make this hire. I think they're going to find someone that's fantastic, and they're going to be able to continue the Lady Bears winning ways.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to put the program on the back burner in any way. I think that, maybe the next head coach isn't making nearly $3 million per year. They will be if they win 3 national titles. I mean, I think Baylor's proven they'll pay for success. That's one thing you can say. Doesn't look like she took much of a raise to go to LSU. But again, I don't think it was just about money. I think it was about maybe money to a certain extent. But that was one of multiple things, disagreements on the arena. Some people have tried to all of a sudden paint that as like the reason. And it's like, okay, no, it's one of the reasons. It's not anything I think is a sole reason, unless you want to say it's just her wanting to go back home. I mean, if anything was just a reason why, then it was going back to Louisiana. And then number 2 might have been like the relationship with Mac. And then number 2B might have been the arena, and number 2C might have been some money, and number 2D, but it was a lot of different things. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. It is what it is. I know I would like to repeat what I said on the show yesterday, and it's like, hey, Lady Bears, diehards, I feel for you. I really do. It's not fun to support something so, steadfastly and support it with your money and support it with your time and support it with your care and all of those things, which is what all sports fans, do to a large extent, especially college fans, especially Baylor fans, Big 12 fans. There's diehard core bases that support these programs. And, man, not many were supported as well as the Lady Bears, outside of just your typical football program. They had a very special audience and a very special connection to those that traveled to every tournament and did all that. And so that's rough for those folks, because I don't think many of them ever thought this day would come. So I do feel for those people who have been, there, in the stands for many of those games and those championships and traveled to watch the team in Oklahoma City and everywhere else. But, hey, you got a lot of memories. You got to win, you got to be a part of this team winning some titles. And there wasn't anything left for her to do, quite frankly, except for win national title number 4 and then national title number 5. And yeah, that's still a worthy goal. I mean, that's what Gino's doing at UConn and what, Saban's doing at Bama, and you wish you could be your Saban or your Gino, but it just wasn't in the cards, man. And, that happens. And I'm not in meltdown mode over this by any means. I think it kind of sucks that the end of an era is over when you know how successful that era was. But at the same time, I have full confidence that Mac Rhodes will go find somebody that's a good coach. May not be Kim Mulkey for a while, but there's 4 coaches in all of women's basketball that you could even put in that category. It's like Gino, Kim, Dawn Staley, and maybe one other person. And that's it. That's the list, basically. So, yeah, coaches like that don't grow on trees, but I think at the same time, there's some positives to it. You may not win as much right away, or maybe for the foreseeable future, but I think you can still win at a high clip, and I think you can probably do it with a little bit of less stress for everybody involved. So, and that goes for both sides. And so, best wishes to Kim Mulkey on her new chapter. Like I said, she obviously seemed very happy in her press conference, talking about the food and ripping her mask off and doing all that. Did you see her press conference? Did you see her rip the mask off at the very beginning?
I heard you talking about it, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, so basically one of the first things. I didn't watch the whole press conference either. I was while we were doing the show, I was watching little clips of it just to keep an eye on if she had said anything of interest, and there wasn't really. She didn't say much at all about Baylor. So I didn't go back and watch the whole thing. But, yeah, she basically started it off by taking off the mask and just throwing it to the side and let me rip this damn mask off. I got a lot to say. And And I just watched Twitter, and I was just like, I bet Matt Crows is going, oh, thank God, I don't have to deal with this anymore. Like, that's who's the AD there, the former A&M?
Scott Woodward.
Yeah, Scott Woodward. I was like, that's his problem now, is deal with the mask stuff. But I just found that funny because it was such a her way to introduce herself, just throwing my damn mask off. But hey, she's in Baton Rouge now, end of an era, and it is what it is. So Lady Bears and Mack Rhodes will now start a coaching search, and as Nina Davis, who's an assistant at Middle Tennessee, I told her yesterday on the show, it's too bad she's not a bit further down the coaching career path yet, because she's definitely not ready to be a head coach, much less the Lady Bears head coach. But I don't know, in 20 years or so, maybe if the next coach they hire has a Kim-like run, then Nina, maybe she'll be on a staff one day. I don't know, but she's a great young lady, and she said it best, I think, when she said that her degree says Baylor, she's a Lady Bear, and she loves Mulkey and will be rooting for her at LSU, but she's going to be supporting the Baylor program, and she's excited to see who the next head coach will be. And I know a lot of other people are as well. A lot of other former players are as well.